Do you want a little secret for success? In this video, we're going to be talking about achieving more than you thought you could. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach about self-government, also about parenting, good communication, and I help people learn self-mastery. In this video, I'm going to share with you the secret to doing more than you thought you could. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a secret from Leonardo da Vinci. And we're going to talk about how you can apply that secret to your life. Leonardo da Vinci said, "You will never have a greater or lesser dominion than that over yourself." He also said that the height of a man's success is gauged by his self-mastery and the depth of his failure by self-abandonment. Let's unpack that. Da Vinci is saying that you cannot have a greater success than self-control. He's also saying that you cannot have a greater weakness than self-abandonment. That if you don't control yourself, you abandon yourself. So basically, not controlling yourself is abandoning yourself. You're not watching out for yourself. You're actually selling yourself short. So I think Leonardo da Vinci would actually be pretty pleased with the teaching self-government movement. For many years now, I've been teaching people self-government. Why? Well, because I found freedom from it. In fact, I feel like the only reason that I can teach anybody about self-government is because it is the height of my greatest success. I can only teach people things because I took the time to control me. And I'm not even perfect yet, but I know the process and I'm willing to keep controlling me again and again. And because of that, I have an impact for good. That's the only reason that anyone even listens to this channel. That's the only reason that people read my books or have me come speak for them. Because I decided that my first priority was conquering me. And if I didn't do it, nobody else could. So basically, I would be abandoning myself. What a wise person Da Vinci was. Do you know, he was known for being very patient, taking his time. I mean, he was a painter, right? He had to be patient and take his time. He was also an inventor. He did a lot of things that required patience. And people would come to him with their problems. And you know what? He always just pulled back. He looked at the situation and then he presented a principle. He was a real God-fearing man who understood that you don't ever solve any problems rashly. You have to remember who you are, where you're headed, and then determine the problem that you're supposed to solve and make sure that it fits in with the equation. So how do we do that today in our modern times? Well, we're going to be talking about that, but before we do you see that button that says subscribe? Click that button now, then you'll see more videos just like this. So what is self-government? Because that's what I teach, and self-government and self-mastery are pretty close to the same thing. When a person governs themselves, they understand cause and effect, and they understand themselves. They say, who ought I to be? So they have a moral compass at the very beginning, and they say, who should I be? Not who do I want to be, but like really, who is it that I ought to be? And then how do I become that person? What is my plan? And what are the things that could happen along the way? Could I have some sort of a mishap or a mistake, or could I fall off course in some way? And if so, how am I going to course correct? So the person makes a plan for their progression. Now, parents make plans for their children's progression. Bosses, owners of companies, make plans for their office's progression. Governments make plans for the societal progression. Why in the world would we not make plans for our own progression? Many people get lazy when it comes to themselves, and the reason why is because self-government is one of the hardest things you ever do. Because you have to do the number one hardest thing for most people, which is to take a good, hard, honest look at yourself. And you have to say, what do I see there? Do I like what I see? Is that taking me in the right direction? And if not, can I accept it, be honest about it, and fix it? That's what it means to be a self-governed person. And there are certain skills that a person might choose to adopt if they are a self-governed person. A self-governed person is a self-motivator. They move themselves forward. They accomplish things that they set their mind to. Now, I know some people are going, oh boy, I'm out just right now then. You don't have to be. It's a work in process. Every one of us has to bite off that pill called self-government and decide, are we going to do it or not? Or are we going to make excuses? Because that's what a lot of people do, is they just make excuses instead of self-governing. They just blame somebody else for their problems or point their attention and emotions and energy on tearing somebody else down or something else down. Whether that something like government, church, person, neighbor, whatever, deserves to be torn down or not is not the point. When a person is self-governed, they take responsibility for how they are reacting with all of these other people or entities that surround them. They take responsibility for their attitude, for their thoughts, for their words, for their communications. That's what a self-governed person does. Now, I teach self-government all over the world. Mostly people come to me saying, I want my child to be self-governed. Please, Nicholeen, help me. And they pick up my parenting books. So you can see I have a lot of parenting books here. In fact, there's even more than what I can hold in this one shot. But they will come to me and say, Nicholeen, how do I help the children? And guess what all of these parenting books teach? That if you want to help the children govern themselves, then you have to govern you. It all starts with the parents. I always tell parents, my target audience is you. You are the one that needs to learn self-mastery. You are the one that needs to decide to give yourself a no answer and an instruction and to self-correct and to disagree appropriately with other people. Those are the 4 basic skills that are taught in these 4 children's books. A lot of people think of those skills as for children, but they're not. Those are adult skills that every person needs. We all know people who do not govern themselves well, and they are full-grown adults. They lose control, they get negative, they ruin relationships. We don't want to be that kind of people. So when you are truly your own master, you are governing yourself, taking responsibility for yourself, making goals and plans and commitments to yourself, and you are following through, then you are self-governed. When you are giving yourself instruction, then you wake up when it's your instruction time to wake up. And when it's time to go to bed, you give yourself an instruction to go to bed. You give yourself a no answer about that one more movie or that one more email. You say nope, and then you instruct yourself to go to bed. That's what a self-governed person does. And they embrace it, they honor it, they don't let their emotions get all bent out of shape over it. They say, nope, this is just what I'm deciding to do, and I'm okay with that. They calmly do it. If you want to achieve more than you thought you could, you've got to set the plan for yourself. Give yourself something that you can quantify, something measurable that you can follow through with. So you need skills. You need a plan. Everybody does. And you also need to see the world through a calm lens. I would say calmness is probably one of the hardest things for people. And you know, it makes sense because we do get emotionally affected by other people. We feel things. We don't always know how to process them or what to do with those feelings, but you can plan for that. You can learn about your feelings and learn how to process those feelings and plan for calmness. So what does it really mean to be calm? Well, a person who's calm is rare. In fact, calmness is the rarest quality in human life. It's the poise of a great nature in harmony with itself and its ideals. It is the life that is self-centered, self-reliant, self-controlled. It's absolute confidence, singleness of purpose. It's conscious power that's ready to be focused in an instant to meet any crisis. That's from William Jordan. The majesty of calmness. That's what calmness is. It is so rare that it takes an entire paragraph to define it. Calmness is something that sets a person apart. And when you are calm, like Leonardo da Vinci was calm, then you can be more patient, more understanding, connect more to the people around you. You will have greater influence and larger impact. Calmness is that powerful. I would like to help you with your calmness. I have a free gift for you because you stayed to the end of this video. And it is my Calm Parenting Toolkit. So the Calm Parenting Toolkit is a beginner course for teaching self-government. It's a starter, it's a mini course. It won't take you long to go through, but you will learn 10 tools for calmness that you can use in any circumstance. So it should help you. It should help you win that victory in your own heart, so that then the battles that rage around all of us don't seem so big and are things that you can handle, maybe even win some of those victories too. So in the description below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit, and it says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. Definitely click on the link to that video now so that you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit for free as a gift for you.